walked in nervous, first day at a new school. Long hallways, strange faces, trying to play it cool. Then I saw you standing there, leather jacket, cold blue eyes. Everyone said stay away, but I've never been that wise. You looked at me like I was something you couldn't understand, a puzzle piece that didn't fit into your master plan. I buried myself in books while you built up your walls, but somehow, someway, we both started to fall. You call me smart, girl.
The building loomed before me like something out of a Gothic novel, all red brick and ivy, with tall windows that seemed to watch as I approached. Riverside Academy for Girls. My new prison for the next 2 years. I adjusted the strap of my messenger bag, feeling the weight of my dog-eared copy of Pride and Prejudice pressing against my hip. Comfort reading. I'd already gone through it twice since Mom told me about the transfer 3 weeks ago. Rosa, sweetheart, it's going to be wonderful. Mom, Mrs. Jane Charles, newly appointed regional director, had said with that bright, determined smile she wore when she was trying to convince herself as much as me. All-girls education has been shown to improve confidence and academic performance. And the literature program at Riverside is exceptional. What she didn't say, I'm sorry I'm uprooting your entire life 2 months into junior year because I took a promotion. What I didn't say, I'm terrified. The September morning was crisp, leaves just beginning to turn amber at the edges. Girls in navy blazers and plaid skirts streamed through the main entrance, laughing and calling to each other with the easy confidence of people who belonged. I stood on the sidewalk, braiding and unbraiding a section of my long brown hair, a nervous habit I'd never quite broken. Just go inside. You've done this before. New school, new you, remember? Except I'd never actually managed to know me. I'd always been the same Rosa, nose buried in books, hand shooting up first in English class, eating lunch alone while mentally cataloging which girls had the most beautiful laughs, the most graceful walks, the most. You lost or something? I jumped, dropping my braid. A girl stood a few feet away, regarding me with curious hazel eyes. She was shorter than me, with warm brown skin and black box braids pulled into a high ponytail. Her uniform was crisp, but she'd added her own flair, silver hoops in her ears, a collection of pins on her blazer lapel. I know. I mean, yes, sort of. I winced at my own eloquence. I'm new. Transfer student. I'm supposed to report to the main office, but say no more. She grinned, gesturing for me to follow. I'm Betty. Junior, like literally everyone at the school. What's your name? Transfer student. Rosa. Rosa Charles.
Cool.
Well, Rosa Charles, welcome to Riverside, where the homework is endless and the drama is even more endless. She pulled open the heavy door, and we stepped into a corridor that smelled like old wood and floor polish. Fair warning, this place looks all prestigious and sophisticated, but it's basically just regular high school with fancier uniforms. I managed a small smile. That's actually reassuring. Stick with me and you'll be fine. Betty navigated the hallways with easy familiarity, pointing out landmarks as we went. That's the library. You look like a library person, no offense. That's the cafeteria. Avoid the mystery meatloaf on Thursdays. And that, she lowered her voice as we passed a bulletin board plastered with photos of girls in football uniforms, is the shrine to our very own campus royalty. I slowed, studying the photos. One girl dominated the center, tall, athletic build, with distinctive blonde-black hair pulled back in a ponytail. She stood with one foot on a football, arms crossed, expression somewhere between confident and challenging. Even in a photo, she had presence. Who's that? Natasha Wilson. Betty's voice held a mix of admiration and wariness. Star of the girls' football team when she bothers to show up, basically runs the social hierarchy around here, and she glanced at me. Not someone you want to cross. Like, seriously. She's got this whole intimidating thing down to an art. My eyes traced the lines of Natasha's face in the photo. Strong jaw, deep blue eyes that seemed to stare right through the camera, full lips curved in something that wasn't quite a smile. She was beautiful in a way that made my stomach flip, all sharp edges and contained power. She looks. I trailed off, not sure how to finish that sentence in a way that wouldn't reveal too much. Terrifying? Yeah, that's the correct response. Betty tugged my arm. Come on, office is this way. And seriously, Rosa? Friendly advice from someone who's been here since freshman year. Stay under Natasha's radar. She and her crew aren't exactly welcoming to new students, especially not ones who... She paused delicately. Ones who what? Ones who look at her the way you just did. Heat flooded my face. I wasn't. I was just... Hey, no judgment. Betty's smile was kind. But trust me on this. Natasha Wilson is bad news for hopeless romantics. The morning passed in a blur of paperwork, schedule adjustments, and awkward introductions. My classes were mostly advanced placement, AP Literature, AP Chemistry, AP Calculus, because apparently Mom's idea of helping me adjust was to ensure I had zero free time. By lunch, my head was spinning with names and faces, and the complex social geography Betty had tried to explain. The cafeteria was a study in hierarchies. Athletes at one cluster of tables, theater kids at another, band and orchestra students claiming the corner by the windows. That's where we sit, Betty said, leading me to a table near the middle where two other girls were already eating. Rosa, meet Lily and Carmen. Girls, this is Rosa, the transfer student I mentioned. Lily looked up from her book. The bell jar, I noted with approval, and offered a shy smile. She had pale skin, glasses, and auburn hair in a messy bun. Carmen was her opposite, dark-skinned, athletic, with close-cropped natural hair and an easy, confident grin. Fresh meat, Carmen said cheerfully. How are you surviving so far? Still breathing, I said, sliding into a seat. That counts for something, right? That counts for a lot on the first day. Lily pushed her glasses up. What classes do you have? I pulled out my schedule, and we compared notes. Lily and I shared AP Lit and Chemistry. Carmen had Calc with me. The conversation flowed easier than I'd expected, and I felt some of the tension in my shoulders start to ease. Maybe this wouldn't be so bad. Maybe. Well, fresh fish. The voice came from behind me, low, amused, and carrying enough authority that the chatter around us dimmed. I turned slowly. Natasha Wilson stood there in person, and the photo hadn't done her justice. She was tall, easily 5'10", with an athletic build that spoke of hours in the gym and on the field. Her blonde-black hair fell in waves past her shoulders, and those blue eyes were even more striking in person, studying me with an intensity that made me feel simultaneously seen and dissected. She wasn't alone. Two other girls flanked her, one with sleek black hair and sharp features, the other blonde and petite, but wearing an expression that suggested she could throw down if needed. Natasha, Betty said carefully. This is Rosa. She just transferred. I can see that. Natasha's eyes hadn't left my face. What's your deal? Rosa who just transferred? Smart girl? Rich girl? Problem child getting a fresh start. My mouth had gone dry, but I forced myself to meet her gaze. Smart girl, I guess. My mom got transferred for work. Natasha tilted her head slightly, and I noticed a small scar cutting through her left eyebrow. You guess? You don't know. I know I like reading and studying. If that makes me a smart girl, then yeah. My voice came out steadier than I felt. Is there a problem with that?
You have reached this point. Please subscribe for more. Thank you.
The dark-haired girl, one of Natasha's crew, laughed. Oh, she's got some spine. Cute. Shut it, Madison. Natasha's tone was casual, but Madison immediately went quiet. Natasha leaned down, hands braced on the table, bringing her face level with mine. This close, I could see gold flecks in her blue eyes, could smell something like cedar and vanilla. Here's the thing about Riverside, smart girl. There's a natural order. You're at the bottom. I'm at the top. We clear? My heart hammered. Up close, she was overwhelming, all that height and muscle and intensity focused directly on me. Part of me wanted to look away, to shrink back, to apologize for existing in her space. But another part, the part that had spent too many years being invisible, being overlooked, refused. Crystal clear, I said evenly. Is there anything else, or can I eat my lunch now? Something flickered in Natasha's eyes. Surprise? Interest? It was gone too quickly to identify. She straightened, stepping back. Watch yourself, Rosa Charles, she said, and there was something in her voice I couldn't quite read. This school isn't as friendly as it looks. She walked away, her crew trailing behind her. The cafeteria noise gradually resumed, but I could feel eyes on me. Curious, sympathetic, some gleeful at having witnessed fresh drama. Holy shit, Carmen breathed. That was either really brave or really stupid. Probably stupid, I admitted, my hands shaking slightly as I picked up my sandwich. But I'm tired of being pushed around. Betty exchanged glances with Lily and Carmen. Rosa, you just made yourself a target. Natasha doesn't like being challenged. What's she going to do? Beat me up for having an opinion? I tried for humor, but my voice wavered. Not physically, Lily said quietly. Natasha doesn't need to. She has other ways of making people miserable. I thought about the way Natasha had looked at me. Really looked like she was memorizing every detail of my face. The intensity of it had been almost physical, a weight pressing against my skin. And despite the warning bells ringing in my head, despite the very sensible fear curling in my gut, I couldn't deny the other feeling thrumming beneath it all. Interest. Attraction. That stupid, helpless, romantic part of me that insisted on finding beauty in the worst possible places. God, I'm in so much trouble. The afternoon didn't improve. In AP Lit, I made the mistake of answering 3 questions in a row, earning annoyed glances from classmates who clearly didn't appreciate the new girl showing off. In chemistry, I accidentally knocked over a beaker and spent 10 minutes cleaning up while the teacher sighed dramatically. By the time the final bell rang, I was exhausted and wanted nothing more than to go home, curl up with a book, and pretend this day had never happened. I was pulling books from my locker when I heard it, voices around the corner, low and tense. Think you're doing talking to her like that? Like what? I was just being friendly. The second voice was unfamiliar, female, with a slight edge to it. Bullshit. I saw you. Stay away from her. Why? You planning to claim her or something? Since when do you care about random transfers? There was a pause, charged with something I couldn't identify. I don't. I'm just saying she's off limits. Spread the word. Whatever you say, Natasha. I froze, my copy of Wuthering Heights halfway into my bag. They were talking about me. Had to be. But why would Natasha tell people I was off limits? Footsteps approached, and I quickly busied myself with my locker, trying to look like I hadn't been eavesdropping. Natasha appeared at the end of the hallway, her expression unreadable. She saw me, paused for a fraction of a second, then kept walking without acknowledgement. I watched her go, confused and intrigued and annoyed at myself for being both. Hey, Rosa. I turned to find Betty jogging toward me, her bag bouncing against her hip. You surviving? Barely. I managed to smile. Today has been a lot. First days usually are. Listen, some of us are going to the coffee shop down the street. You want to come? It's kind of a Riverside tradition. I hesitated. Part of me wanted to retreat to the safety of home, to process everything that had happened. But another part, the part that was tired of always being alone, always being on the outside, wanted to try. Sure, I said. Coffee sounds good. The Coffee Collective was exactly the kind of place I loved. Exposed brick walls, mismatched furniture, the rich smell of espresso and old books. Betty, Lily, Carmen, and I claimed a corner table, and for a while, I let myself relax into the easy conversation and the warmth of the chai latte in my hands. So, what brings you to our humble city? Carmen asked, stealing a piece of Lily's muffin. My mom's job. She's the new regional director for Cascade Marketing. Oh, shit, really? Betty's eyes widened. My mom works there. Jane Charles, right? She's kind of legendary. Pride and resentment tangled in my chest. That's her. Legendary workaholic, more like. Sounds like there's a story there, Lily said gently. I shrugged, not wanting to get into the whole complicated mess of my relationship with Mom. It's just been the two of us for a long time. Her job is important. I get it. Doesn't mean it's not lonely sometimes. Well, you've got us now, Carmen declared. Fair warning, we're not cool, we're not popular, but we're loyal. And Lily makes killer brownies. Literally killer, Betty added. Like, they should come with a warning label about their addictiveness. Lily blushed. They're just regular brownies. Lies and slander. I laughed, feeling some of the day's tension finally ease. This was nice. Normal. The kind of thing I'd imagined when I'd let myself fantasize about having actual friends. The bell over the door chimed, and I glanced up automatically. Then froze. Natasha had just walked in, along with Madison and the blonde girl from lunch. They headed straight for the counter, and I tried to make myself smaller in my seat, hoping they wouldn't notice us. No such luck. Madison spotted us first, elbowing Natasha and nodding in our direction. Natasha's gaze found me immediately, and for a long moment, we just stared at each other across the coffee shop. Ignore her, Betty whispered. Don't engage. But Natasha was already walking over, her drink in hand. She stopped at our table, and I noticed how everyone else in the coffee shop tracked her movement, like she was magnetic, impossible not to watch. Smart girl, she said, and I hated how my stomach flipped at the nickname. Didn't take you for the coffee shop type. You don't know anything about me, I said, proud that my voice didn't shake. Not yet. She took a sip of her drink. Black coffee, I noticed no sugar, and something in her expression shifted. But I'm starting to figure it out. What's that supposed to mean? Means you're interesting. She said it like an accusation. I don't like interesting. Interesting is complicated. Then stop talking to me. I shot back. Problem solved. Madison snorted. She's got you there, Nat. Natasha's jaw tightened. For a second, I thought I'd pushed too far, that she was going to do something to put me in my place. But instead, she just studied me with those intense blue eyes, and I had the strangest feeling she was trying to solve a puzzle. See you around, Rosa Charles, she finally said and walked away. I released a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. Okay, what the hell was that? Carmen demanded. Is she flirting with you, or threatening you? Because I genuinely cannot tell. Both. Lily offered. Natasha is complicated. Natasha is bad news, Betty corrected. Rosa, seriously. I know she's gorgeous and mysterious and all that, but she's also been known to make people's lives hell just because she's bored. Don't get sucked in. I nodded, but my eyes kept drifting to where Natasha sat with her friends, laughing at something Madison said. Even her laugh was attractive, low and genuine, transforming her face from intimidating to almost approachable. Stop it, I told myself firmly. You're not doing this. You're not falling for the school bully just because she has nice eyes and an interesting scar and happens to be exactly your type physically. Except I was absolutely doing exactly that, and I was absolutely screwed. That night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling of my new room, still half filled with unpacked boxes. My phone buzzed with a text from Mom. Long day at office. Leftovers in fridge. Love you, daughter. I texted back a heart emoji and set the phone aside. The day played on repeat in my mind. Natasha's challenge in the cafeteria, her strange protectiveness I'd overheard, the way she'd looked at me in the coffee shop like I was a problem she couldn't quite solve. Interesting is complicated. I rolled over, pulling my worn copy of Jane Eyre from the nightstand. But for once, even Jane's dramatic romance couldn't hold my attention. I kept thinking about deep blue eyes and blonde black hair, and a voice that managed to be both threatening and somehow intrigued. This was exactly the kind of situation my rational mind knew to avoid. Natasha Wilson was a bully, someone who used her social power to intimidate and control. Getting involved with her, even being on her radar, was a terrible idea. But my stupid, romantic, eternally hopeful heart had already started writing a different story. One where the tough exterior hid something more, where the intensity in those blue eyes meant something other than casual cruelty. I groaned, burying my face in my pillow. "First day, Rosa," I muttered to myself. You couldn't even make it through the first day without developing a crush on the worst possible person. Outside my window, the city lights glittered like possibilities. Tomorrow, I'd be smarter. I'd keep my head down, focus on my studies, avoid Natasha Wilson at all costs. But even as I made that promise to myself, I knew it was already too late. The story had begun, and I'd never been any good at walking away from a compelling narrative, especially one where I was unexpectedly cast as the lead.